Over the next 9 weeks, I'll be traveling throughout Australia and New Zealand. I'll be starting in Darwin of the Northern Territory and making my way south through the outback to Uluru. Then I'll be heading down the Australian east coast from Cairns to Melbourne. Once in New Zealand, I'll be checking out the North Island before the Adrenalin and Adventure of the South Island. This is my second time in Australia and New Zealand, but this time my bucket list will be a lot shorter. This is the Grand Ocean Adventure. So we finally made it to the South Island of New Zealand. This is where all our action, adventure, and adrenaline activities are going to take place over the next 3 weeks. Really looking forward to doing some pretty amazing and unforgettable experiences. And one of those unforgettable experiences, we're going to be swimming with wild dolphins. After a short journey out to sea, we spotted some dolphins off in the distance, so we all got real excited for our snorkel. We then arrived at our dive site and several dolphins greeted us. We got suited up in our wetsuits and jumped in. The dolphins that we were going to be swimming with are dusky dolphins. These dolphins are only found in the southern hemisphere, and they live in this part of New Zealand because of the unique climate conditions. These dolphins are wild, and they are not drawn into the touring boat by any means. The dolphins choose to interact on their own instincts, so it can be hit or miss at times.
Sometimes we don't want to still, we gotta chase our dreams, reach up and reach high, because we're gonna pull through and give it all we got, even though it can seem hard to catch and make it happen, but we can't start sliding. Come on and do what you gotta do to fight on. And so no matter what comes your way, nothing can ruin your day or even wipe a smile away. And by the time I'm up and out of my bed, I got 100 new ideas floating around in my head, with the hope for tomorrow, a dream that I can see of all the awesome things, the great people we can be. Or maybe by the music or the songs that I sing, I'll change the world with the simple message that it will bring. All I know is that it's out there, there's more to discover, a lot of good things we can learn from one another. Gotta celebrate, laugh, and get excited about good times and good living. Come on and shout it out, hey! Take it up, take it over, take it up.
After our dive, we sailed back to shore, but the dolphins weren't done with us just yet. A group of them decided to ride the bow and give us one final performance. So we have arrived in Christchurch, and Christchurch, as everyone knows, was devastated by that massive earthquake in February 2011. I was actually in Christchurch while working on a cruise ship about a month before their earthquake. You can probably hear that. They're still constructing here. Even after about 8 years, it's almost 8 years since I was last in Christchurch, they're still rebuilding, and the cathedral was devastated, and that was the most iconic feature of Christchurch. I was able to get a photo of the cathedral before it was devastated, but it just goes to show you the magnitude of this earthquake and how badly it affected Christchurch. Not just the buildings, but the people too. Quite a number of lives were lost, and it just really goes to show you the scale of this earthquake and how powerful it really was. The plan for the cathedral is to have it rebuilt. However, with the amount of time that has passed since the quake and what little to no progress has been done, one wonders if that is a possibility. The worshippers who prayed here have since moved to another church a few minutes away, called the Cardboard Cathedral, as the church was built from cardboard. That afternoon, we made our way to the Southern Alps and Lake Takapo, where I was finally going to get high in the sky for a scenic flight over these mountains and catch a glimpse of New Zealand's highest mountain, Mount Cook. But before we got settled into our accommodation, we stopped off at the most photographed church in the world, the Church of the Good Shepherd. People come here from all over the world just to have their wedding photos done here, even if they didn't get married at the church. So good morning from Lake Takapo. This morning, raining, cloudy, windy. As a result, my flight has been canceled. So I'm doing this hike up Mount John. Hopefully get a nice view. I don't know what type of view it's going to be with rainy and cloudy, but we will see. Last night I went back to the Church of the Good Shepherd. Didn't really work out. I only got one good photo of the church with the stars, and then the clouds started rolling in. So 2 big disappointments back to back. And that's the thing with New Zealand weather. It's very, very unpredictable, and I knew that going into this trip, which is why in 1 week, I'll be back in Lake Takapo. Hopefully be able to do the scenic flight. Hopefully get some better shots of the Church of the Good Shepherd at night with the stars. So I have arrived in Queenstown, the adventure capital of the world, and as you can see, I'm on a kind of different weird angle here, and the video quality may not be as good, and that is because my camera, which I was using yesterday on the Mount John hike, has died. Yes, my camera has died. So it was raining a little bit. Water did get on it. However, maybe just a little drop of water went into one little wrong place and something happened to it. I don't know. There's a couple other issues with it now. So I was really panicking and really freaking out because now I don't have a camera. I was able to search for camera stores here in Queenstown. Fortunately, there is only one. I then asked if they sell any cameras. They do sell cameras, but they don't sell video cameras. So they said that they'll do some research. I gave them my model number and see if they can get a camera that's similar to mine. A few hours later, I called them back. They were able to locate a couple of cameras that are comparable to mine. And I had put in an order in to be shipped from Auckland. There's like one left in Auckland. So they're expediting that to Queenstown. It hopefully arrive tomorrow, Friday. Fingers crossed. If not, it'll arrive Saturday morning. The last several hours have been really gut-wrenching, trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my camera. The photo store there went really above and beyond what I was expecting, to have them locate a camera, a decent quality camera, and get it down here in time before I leave Queenstown. And because of my situation now, I had to rethink and reorganize all of my tours in Queenstown. So tomorrow I was supposed to do the Milford Sound Scenic Cruise and flight. I have to reschedule that till next week because I need a good quality camera for that. But yeah, now there's that risk that next week that I won't be able to do the flight because it could be raining all day. So I may lose out on that. But I had to do it because I have no camera for it, and that needs to, Milford Sound is so epic, and that needs to be part of the tour. And because of this unexpected expense now, I have to rethink the rest of my excursions, activities that I'm doing. There's a couple things which I already know I'm going to cancel because I've kind of done it before, or it's just an extension of another tour. But I'm going to go in and see if I can cancel anything else. The South Island was the highlight of my whole trip. Everything that I've done so far has led up to this part of the trip, the South Island of New Zealand. This is the finale of my trip, and I need to have video of it, otherwise it's not going to work. The whole entire 6.5 weeks of filming in Australia and New Zealand, it's just not going to work. I mean, really know any. I can't film it with an iPhone or a GoPro. It's just not practical for the type of video I'm making, and professional enough, and it's just so much extra unnecessary work that I'm gonna have to do, and I really don't want that. This is the most stressful and unique travel story that I have experienced. Yeah, it's just unbelievable what has happened. Really stressed out, and hopefully it'll all work out in the end. We'll see in a couple of days what happens. Okay, so it's my first full day in Queenstown, and I'm about to do a 4-wheel drive of the Lord of the Rings safari. We're going to be visiting several sites in and around Queenstown where they filmed Lord of the Rings. So I'm going to be filming this whole tour with my iPhone. I don't know how it's going to look, but hope for the best.
If I mention the word potatoes, now how do we cook them?
Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew.
Stick them in the stew.
There you go.
Is she?
So Sam and Gollum are arguing about cooking rabbits. A bracy young Coley's master Frodo, sir. That spoils it. Raw and wriggling. Stop it, you're making him sick. Yeah, all that bit, yeah. So, but while they are arguing, they hear a noise. So go and have a look. And here they are, having a look. And here they are, being filmed at having a look. So we come over here. There's even got the snow on it as well. Hey! And of course, we know what they saw. Elephants! They're not just a legend. The folks back home will never believe me yet. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, the elephants were CGI. Sorry to disappoint you, but the guys with them, the men of Harad, the Haradrim, they were real, and they were attacked by Faramir and the Rangers of Ithilien with the old bows and arrows. Now, the way they got that to work, each of these guys was given a number, and as they marched along, Peter Jackson would shout out a number. And if that was your number was up. Now some of them did this in a very spectacular way. So they recognised themselves when they saw the film. But they had to put a stop to that because some of them were being too spectacular. And they were saying, okay, cut, everybody get back up again. And some of them weren't getting back up again because they knocked themselves out. But hey, and then when they got the film back to the studio, they used the computer. The arrows in. Cunning. Welcome to Isengard. So, in Middle Earth, this place would have been called Nan Curinia, which means the Wizard's Vale. Nan meaning valley, and Curinia, wise man or cunning man. So if you remember, the Ents, the tree people, attacked Isengard. They tore down the dam. In that valley there. There you go. Aragorn's first sword, his ranger sword, the one he did not have in the book. So, of course, in the book, he just carried the broken pieces of a Narsil, which was reforged to become Anduril, Flame of the West. This one's a little bit loose at the moment. As you can imagine, these have a hard life. So every now and again I've got to take them all into where I used to work and mend them all.
So, last day in Queenstown, so I'm back in about a week, and I am about to do the shot over canyon swing. It's about 110 meters high. It's a 200-meter swing distance, and it's a 60-meter free fall. It's going to be pretty epic. This is probably the most epic thing that I've done so far on this trip. Tomorrow is supposed to be skydiving. The weather's looking reasonably good right now, so hopefully the skydive will be on. But today it's the canyon swing. It's going to be absolutely awesome.
Once you've taken care of all your kit, we'll get you into a full body harness. So if you want to go tandem, do let us know, because we've got a different setup for that. Basically, harness goes around the back of your legs, around your waist and over your head. So what that allows, jump rope actually comes off at your midsection, like an umbilical cord, yeah? Leaves your feet and arms free. So within reason, under command of the jump master, throw you off that far left hand corner, where all the cameras are. 60-meter free fall, you'll enter the swing. It pretty much doesn't matter what you've done on the way down. You're going to get into a seated upright position in your harness, pretty much no matter what, yeah? You're going to go fanging it across that river casually at about 120 to 140 kilometers an hour. So you're pulling about 3G, which is a reasonably tight turn in a light aircraft, basically. It's not much. Don't worry, you don't pass out until about 8 or 9G, so you will be fully conscious the entire time. Might as well keep your eyes open. Enjoy the view.
That's that. And you sit down. Looks pretty good, huh? Yeah?
So I finally gotten my brand new camera from the camera store in Queenstown there. I picked it up after I did the canyon swing, tested it out, make sure everything is working properly, not just for filming but for editing when I get home. And it's pretty much very, very comparable to my old camera, which I'm really happy about. Some technical differences, but overall it's pretty much identical, which is absolutely amazing. And this ends my very stressful last 48 hours, 72 hours or so of trying to find a new camera. Fortunately, I was able to arrive on time and able to get it, so that way I can continue filming my trip. So we finally made it to Wanaka. Very impressive mountains right behind me there. Tomorrow is our skydive. Tomorrow's forecast is supposed to be overcast with chances of showers. However, the wind is supposed to be pretty light, so hopefully the skydive is to go ahead. Just really looking forward to the skydive tomorrow. The canyon swing today was absolutely amazing, and the skydive tomorrow, if it goes ahead, is just going to be absolutely epic. So good morning from Wanaka. It is Sunday morning and the skydive is a go. Can't ask for any more beautiful weather for a skydive. It's absolutely amazing. The winds are very light. It's clear, partial cloudy. It's going to be absolutely amazing. My first ever skydive from 12,000 feet. Really excited. Doing this is going to be quite the rush. It's the number one thing I've wanted to do on my bucket list.
was it, Michael?
It was so awesome. One of the best experiences I had in my life. It's just such a huge rush. Just creeping up to the ledge there was a little, nerve-wracking because naturally you don't want to be there. And then you just go. Like there wasn't even a countdown. You just go out and then you fall for I don't know, maybe like 5 to 7 seconds or so. And then you start to float. And then the guy taps you on the shoulder. You're able to open up your arms. And then it kind of feels like you're really flying, which was really cool. And then the parachute comes out. You go back up. And then he was spinning the parachute around.
Yeah.
So you were kind of like spinning around in a circle, just looking at the ground, kind of like something from an Alfred Hitchcock movie or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely amazing. Really a rush.
After our morning buzz of fresh air, we headed back north en route to Franz Josef. Now, according to Hakka Tours, this drive was going to be the most scenic of the entire South Island. And the drive did not disappoint. After a few hours of driving, we made a stop at the Blue Pools to check them out and go for a short hike.
Lay down your sweet and weary head. Night is falling. You've come to journey's end. Sleep now and dream of the ones who came before. They are calling from across the distant shore. Why do you weep? What are these tears upon your face? Soon you will see.
So walking through this trek has been absolutely amazing. It really reminds me like I'm in Lord of the Rings right now. Almost expecting a pack of orcs to be swarming out of the woods any moment with their axes, and Aragorn and Legolas and Gimli coming out and destroying them all. And that, or just walking along the path and you turn around a tree and there's Gollum with Frodo and Sam in that, and it's just absolutely amazing to come to a place like this. And it was really Lord of the Rings that really inspired me to come to New Zealand, not because of the movies. The movies are great, but the scenery around New Zealand, because it's just epic and just like so mystical that a place like this does exist on Earth, because it's so unique. Here there's mountains all around the world and great forests are all around the world, but New Zealand is different. It really is. And I know it's really far away, but it's definitely worth it. It's worth coming down here, not just if you're a fan of Lord of the Rings, if you're a fan of nature and epic scenery and that, it's worth it. New Zealand is absolutely fantastic.
Light on the water, all souls past, hope fades into the world of night, through shadows falling out of memory and time. Don't say we have come now to the end.
Our full day in Franz Josef was going to be spent on ice, literally. We boarded a helicopter for the very short flight to the start of our glacier trek. We would be able to walk on and in the glacier, where several meters of ice would be towering over us. The interesting fact about Franz Josef is that the glacier is in a tropical rainforest, providing a unique experience. However, with the effects of climate change, the Franz Josef Glacier is receding very, very quickly and is expected to lose 38% of its mass by 2100 or sooner.
Across the sea, a pale moon rises. The ships have come to carry you home.
Yes.
When you go down this tan line, you need to hold it differently. So copy what the person in front of you does. Make sure you're watching. We should all do the same thing. Your hand should be a different way, okay? Make sure you're watching.
The next day, I took the Trans-Alpine train from Greymouth back to Christchurch, where I would be joining another group to start my final tour, South Island Adrenalin Junkie, from Christchurch to Wellington. The train journey was very scenic, with several different landscapes as we made our way from the west coast to the east coast of New Zealand. After arriving back in Christchurch, the next day we drove back to Lake Takapo.
So I'm back in Lake Takapo. It'll be a week tomorrow that my old camera had died here while on the hike up to Mount John, and as a result of that I inquired with my insurance company, and as of right now I don't know if my camera is going to be insured. I won't know that until I file a claim when I get back home. As a result of that, it's a huge unexpected expense that I had to pay, and I have decided to cancel quite a bit of activities coming up on this leg of the trip, which is very unfortunate. And one of those activities was the scenic flight. I was supposed to do this a week ago today. It's very unfortunate that I'm not going to be doing the scenic flight. I would really love to do it. However, this was a very unexpected expense with my camera. So I'm back in Queenstown. I'm here at the Karoo Bridge, which is the original home for bungee jumping. Yes, that's right. Bungee jumping was first invented here in New Zealand, in Queenstown. One of the reasons why Queenstown is called the adventure capital of the world. So some of my fellow travelers are going to be jumping off today, which is going to be pretty epic. How was it, guys? You're all wet.
Yeah. Try it. You must bungee jump.
So, plan for Queenstown. If my Milford Sound flight doesn't happen tomorrow, I plan to do the Ben Lomond hike. And then hopefully on Saturday, if I can do the flight, do it. If not, then I'm going to try and fit in the T.S. Earnslaw steamship, or maybe even try to do the steamship tomorrow. I really want to do that. But yeah, we'll see what happens over the next several hours. Just kind of watching the weather at this point and hope for the best. Hopefully Milford Sound works out.
Unfortunately, the next day, the weather did not cooperate, and the flight to Milford Sound was cancelled. So I went with my backup plan of doing the Ben Lomond hike. The hike was challenging at times with several steep parts, but a good pair of hiking shoes will do the trick. As I made my way up to the summit, the rain clouds were moving in, so I pushed on harder to try and make it up to the summit before the rain came. And after a long and hard trek, I finally made it up to the summit for a 360-degree view of Queenstown just as the rain was starting to fall.
So I finished the Ben Lomond hike. Took 2 hours to get up there and about an hour and 5 minutes or so to get back. It was very exhausting. But now, as you can see behind me, that's the T.S. Ernstlaw steamship. It was launched in 1912, same year as RMS Titanic. It was a vital part to the city of Queenstown and the local area, and now it's used for tourism, giving tours around the lake, Wakatipu, and yeah, with my interest in Titanic and old steamships and that, this is going to be pretty amazing. It's the only coal-fired steamship that is left in the southern hemisphere. So let's go for a ride and check out an old part of Queenstown and an old part of history. So another good morning from Queenstown, and it is a very good morning this morning. Yes, that is clear blue skies right behind me. Everyone is out today. There's a marathon happening in the city. A family of ducks are out. It's a very, very beautiful morning here in Queenstown, New Zealand. So, update on flight situation since it's such a beautiful day. We made the call at 7 a.m. Still not a go-ahead as of yet. Milford Sound is looking really good right now. Queenstown is looking absolutely beautiful, as you can see right now. There's just some sketchy clouds between Milford and Queenstown that the pilots are a little concerned about. However, we're going to do another weather check in about 90 minutes from now. So the trip to Milford Sound is a go-ahead. So we're at the airport now, here are the planes. And we're gonna go for a scenic flight and cruise over Milford Sound, finally. After our very epic scenic flight, we arrived at Milford Sound and boarded our boat for a tour through the sound. Now, even though I flew to Milford Sound, there is a bus you can get from Queenstown. However, it is a 4-hour journey one way. Having been to Milford Sound 4 times before, I was keen on taking the flight to see Milford from a different perspective, and every time we come back, the views are still epic. Milford Sound is part of Fiordland National Park.
one of New Zealand's most majestic natural wonders. Through the inspiring sounds of Milford, Dusky, Thompson, Doubtful, and Bretsky Sounds, among several others, are lined with mountain peaks that rise to heights of 6,000 to 7,000 feet, cascading waterfalls and dense forests that make up this awe-inspiring place. Doing a scenic cruise through Milford is a must-do when you come to New Zealand.
So I'm back in Franz Josef, and today I'm going to be doing quad biking. I've never been quad biking before. Looks pretty cool, so we're going to check out the Franz Josef Glacier and see the unique landscape around here.
After we stopped our quad bike for a quick photo stop of the Franz Josef Glacier, we then took our quad bikes through the tropical jungle, and once I entered the jungle, I felt like I was in Jurassic World, especially in the scene where Owen rides his motorcycle through the jungle with a pack of raptors. After our full day in Franz Josef, we continued north along the coast to Punakaiki, where we would be spending the next 2 nights in the tropical jungle. The next day, I checked out the local natural wonder called the Pancake Rocks. These rocks were formed 30 million years ago from dead marine animals and plants, and with the water pressure in this area caused them to solidify in hard and soft layers. Then, with the seismic activity, raised the formation and eroded into these pancake-shaped looking rocks.
Okay, so I just finished the Pancake Rocks. The rock formations themselves are really interesting. I was expecting the tides to be crashing into the rocks a little bit more, but maybe that's how it is. Now I'm doing a hike called the Fossil Creek Hike, which I think is very, very appropriate for the type of scenery that I'm about to see. Very much like Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I think this is the closest I'll ever be to Jurassic Park and Jurassic World. I wasn't really expecting this on the West Coast, this type of scenery, even in New Zealand for that matter. But yeah, that's the hike that I'm going to do today. It is a 15-kilometer hike, 5 hours. We'll see how long it actually takes. Ben Lomond was 4 to 6 hours round trip, and I did that in 3 hours round trip. So we'll see how that works out. But yeah, really looking forward to walking in this scenery. And welcome to Jurassic Park and welcome to Jurassic World.
One little side trail that I eventually decided to take was Cave Creek, and once I arrived, the view was absolutely stunning. One little side note about this area of New Zealand is that Steven Spielberg and his producers scouted this area to film Jurassic Park in. However, even though the landscape matched the director's vision of bringing back to life a prehistoric world, it was determined that the really unpredictable weather of New Zealand would prove to add too much havoc to this very innovative film, and the producers eventually decided to film in Hawaii. I had my lunch and rested here for a couple of hours before I decided to continue back along the Fossil Creek hike and return to the accommodation. However, I did come across this large log spanning the two sides of the rock, and it looked like the scene from King Kong, where the explorers are thrown off by Kong.
So I finally made it back to my accommodation. There is the Haka bus, so obviously I'm in the right location. The total walk time of my trip was about 4.5 hours, and the trek that I did was, they said it was about 5 hours. Total walk time was about 17 kilometers. It was extra 2 kilometers for the hike to the Cave Creek, which was absolutely amazing. That was actually the highlight of this whole walk. I think this walk was much better than the Ben Lomond hike. Obviously different landscape, but I just really enjoyed this one a lot more. And I have some more exciting news to share with you. On the way back, I saw a weka, which is this flightless bird, similar to a kiwi. I was walking along the road and one just kind of popped out and came right up to me, and it was really, really friendly. And then a little later down the road, I saw a baby weka. And then I saw the mother, and then another weka came over, and the mother took care of that.
After spending a couple of days in Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, we continued north and made our way inland, picked up some supplies en route to our final destination of the South Island, Abel Tasman National Park.
So we finally made it to Abel Tasman, and today is the 22nd of November, which is a very special day for me. It's my 31st birthday, and I'm going to be skydiving from 16,500 feet. This is the highest skydive I'll ever do, so I'm really looking forward. What a great birthday present this is. Pretty much, still a couple days left on my New Zealand trip, but this is going to be pretty much the climax of my trip. So let's do this.
Welcome to Skydive Abel Tasman.
Thank you very much.
How you doing today?
So excellent.
Pretty excited?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. How high are you going to go?
16,500 feet today.
All the way to the top floor.
Yeah.
All the way up there. Beautiful day for it. How's the nerves? You feel a bit nervous?
No, I've done a skydive before a couple weeks ago,
brilliant.
so now I'm gonna be able to enjoy it a lot more. And it's my 31st birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday! Woohoo!
So, best birthday present I'll ever get.
Excellent, bro. Should we go have some fun?
Absolutely, let's go.
We'll see you out there.
You had a chance and you took it on me. And I made a promise that I couldn't keep. Heartache, heartbreak, all over town, but something flipped like a switch when you came around. And I'm in pieces, pick me up and put me together. These are the days we've been waiting for. On days like these, who could ask for more? Keep them coming, 'cause we're not done yet. These are the days we won't regret. These are the days we won't forget. These are the days we've been waiting for. Rattle the cage and slam that door. And the world is calling us, but not just yet. These are the days we won't regret. These are the days we won't forget. Out on the midnight, the wild ones howl. The last of the lost boys have thrown in the towel. Used to believe we were stars aligned. You made a wish and I fell out of town. Flew, cut through all over town. You made me bleed when I look up and you're not around. But I'm in pieces. Pick me up and put me together. These are the days we've been waiting for. On days like these, who could ask for more?
Welcome back, Marco.
What a birthday present.
That is awesome. Well done. Happy birthday, bro.
Thank you very much.
So you do it again?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Number 3?
Oh yeah.
Awesome. Cheers, Evan. Good, Marco.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just got back from my 31st birthday skydive here in Abel, Tasman. It was absolutely amazing. What better way to celebrate a birthday than jumping out of a plane at 16,500 feet? Yeah, definitely better. The second time around I was able to enjoy it a lot more because I knew what to expect and just take it all in. The scenery was just absolutely amazing. The ocean, the mountains, the fields, just everything was unbelievable. And my dive instructor and the other skydiver who was taking a nice panoramic shot of me were absolutely great to work out with and hang out with. Yeah, definitely the best birthday I've ever had and probably will ever have in my life. So tonight we're spending here at Abel, Tasman. Not too sure what to expect for tonight, but we'll see what happens.
That night, the group had a small party to celebrate my birthday, which really meant a lot and was really special, celebrating my birthday in my favorite country in the world. The next day, we had a full day in Abel, Tasman, so I decided to do canyoning, in which we would rappel, climb, slide, swim, and jump into pools of water. It was a lot of fun doing one last physical and adventurous activity before my trip ended. On our final morning in Abel Tasman, we went for a canoe ride along the shore before we caught the ferry back to Wellington. I then made my way back to Auckland, where I spent a couple more days before flying back home to Toronto. These last 9 weeks of traveling in Australia and New Zealand was quite literally a trip of a lifetime. Even though some activities I didn't have the opportunity to do, I cannot complain, as I did more in these last 9 weeks than most people will do in their entire life. This was the Grand Ocean Adventure.
Once upon a younger year, when all our shadows disappeared, the animals inside came out to play. Went face to face with all our fears, learned our lessons through the tears, made memories we knew would never fade. One day my father, he told me, son, don't let it slip away. He took me in his arms, I heard him say, when you get older, your wild heart will live for younger days. Think of me if ever you're afraid. He said one day you'll leave this world behind, so live a life you will remember. My father told me when I was just a child, these are the nights that never die. My father told me. Light a fire they can't put out, carve your name into those shining stars. He said go venture far beyond the shores, don't forsake this life of yours. I'll guide you home no matter where you are. One day my father, he told me, son, don't let it slip away. When I was just a kid I heard him say, when you